What's up? What's up? What's up? Win Daily Sports family, Tony Cutillo, Dave Gloeckner. It's Jigsaw on the bell ringer time, and it's WinDailySports.com. Make sure you give us a follow on WinDailySports.com. You know the drill. We do this every night, the night before, getting ready, the early lock show, MLB DFS. This was for Tuesday, 11-game DK slate. Obviously, we predicate most of this on DK, but obviously you can pivot the FanDuel if you do the FanDuel tournaments as well. But another decent night, Dave. You know, we had the sneaky plays from Texas and Arizona. DeGrom. Unfortunately, with 85% of the field, he was stuck in 8.4, right? Listen, so you were kind of with everybody else, which is fine. It is what it is, fine. Right?
Yeah. To win, you're gonna have to have the big ones. You got to be with the majority and hit the other ones right. So you can be with the majority on one or two, just not the whole lineup.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the lines we were in on were the Phillies, but they got rained out. So again, it's going to be a doubleheader today. I think it's doubleheader today, right? Is that
it? Will be. Yep.
Yeah, doubleheader today.
4 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah. So another interesting. So there'll be some interesting picks in that game. So make sure you keep it locked in for that as well. And the best way to do that is hopping in our Discord. Make sure you get in that Discord, WinDailySports.com. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show, and you continue for all the future content. But Dave, 11 games on this slate. As always, we start right at the pitching perspective. And, you got a guy in Kershaw at 10-1. You got Strider at 10-4 going up against San Diego. Or then you're going to drop down to Miguel or Montgomery. What one of those guys is your building block for this lineup?
It's going to be Strider. Strider's had a good start to the year, 9 Ks in every single game. So that's nice, 27 out the gate, 9 in each game. So you already know you're going to pay for something in that range just to start. And the thing about him, if you look at some of his advanced numbers, he's maybe even a little bit unlucky so far. His 3.38 ERA actually is a 2.2 FIP and even a 2.8 Sierra. So he's got a situation where he's only allowed like 9 hits, but 6 earned runs. So I could see Strider being that kind of anchor at the top. And I do feel good playing him. Out in San Diego, it's still a hitter's park, even though they've tried to move some things around here and there. So I think Strider at the top is a good play. If I dip a little bit lower, I do like, Kershaw, you always got to like, but the Mets actually hit lefties okay. We talked about that the other day. So I would look more towards Jordan Montgomery as my 1B if I am sitting at the top.
I like that. Now, I'm going to go a little sneaky. I want to get your opinion on this because, again, I like to get a little different. And I liked Merrill Kelly yesterday, who didn't pitch bad at all,
right?
As a sneaky play. But how about that Nathan Eovaldi? Now, here's the thing, right? So, again, you're going to look at it right off and this is what happens with people, in my opinion. They look right, 6.32 area, 1.53 with this guy stinks. Okay, remember, I could care less about what his ERA is. What I'm looking at is innings pitched. I'm looking at strikeout potential, and I'm looking at how far it goes in the games. And Dave, this is a guy, okay, 7'6", 5'5", and he's going up in pitches from 82, 89, 91, and he's facing the Kansas City lineup. Again, they did well, but they're not always that good. So I think this could be a nice spot, nice bounce back when we talk about Texas from the pitching hump, because obviously DeGrom goes out early. But I like Eovaldi as a sneaky play.
I like it. And even when DeGrom went out tonight, I think it was no hit through 4 innings. So Kansas City really doesn't scare anyone. Eovaldi is one of those guys, when he gets in a groove, he's really hard to hit. He throws hard, power pitcher. So, if you're going to attack him with anybody, against KC is a really nice choice. Talking about one of those other potentials there that I like a lot is probably Marcus Stroman. Very similar attack spot. Going against the Oakland A's soft hitting team. Stroman's been great so far this season. 1.0 ERA, 24 fantasy points per game. And then when we take even a step down into your area where you were with Eovaldi, I think Sale's got some value too. Chris Sale, I look at some of his numbers as well. 11 ERA, right? Terrible. But his FIP's a 7.5, and his Sierra's all the way down to 3.8. So he's really been a little bit on the unlucky side. So I think Sale at that price, Minnesota's tough. I get it. They can really attack, but at times they're higher strikeout rate than they have been in the past few years. They're 6th in the league in K rate. So there's potential here for Sale at that price to be really good too.
Yeah, and again, you know, you can't always pay up for everybody, right? So if you're gonna, you know, we did this last night. It was like, hey, we want the Grom, so we got the Grom. Fine, he's the chalk guy, but who's gonna be the 1B? Who's gonna be different? So again, that's why we give you some names. You know, again, Merrill Kelly was one of them. I mean Kelly, Merrill Kelly. And then I like Evaldi, and like Dave's saying, you know, you can get Stroman at 8,800, Excel at 7,500. So again, it's $3,000 off that top guy. And as long as they do well, you're probably going to hit if you have a good lineup. So, Dave, speaking of lineups, who's the people we're going to stack tonight?
Yeah, well, first, Yvonne checking in. Imagine not playing Ruiz today. Good comment there. That was one of
Oh,
your
there
guys,
we
wasn't
go.
it?
That's the
Yeah.
FFVPs. That listen, here you go. Just so everybody knows, if you're watching the show for the first time, it's kind of what put out this every day in Discord, on Twitter. It is the Fantasy Firebox Value Play. Fantasy Firebox is a fantasy show that I do for Win Daily and Heat Ratio Sports on football season, usually on Saturday mornings. And we started this FFVP a while ago in baseball because baseball is where you can get different under $3,000. So the goal is to pick a guy under 3 grand that's going to give you PPP, which is positive point production, specifically like 5 points or higher. As long as that, you're +5. Because again, these are low value guys after you get these big stacks. So what did Ruiz do? Starts off the game with a 5 spot. So
Yep.
already cashes the FFVP. And I'll tell you this, Dave, just so everybody knows, I think I want to do because my man B in Discord was like, yo, you got to make a sheet. I got to make a sheet because I do have all the written down. With Ruiz, we're now approaching a +75 for the year in FFVP value. Just from me specifically, that's not even including everybody else in Win Daily that throws their FFVP out there. So I know I'm +75, Dave. I know you hit some really good ones as well.
Yeah, no, but it's nice. I love when people, I mean, that was one of the plays the audience loved as well yesterday. So when we're in line and we're in tune, it's beautiful music. And, C's checking in saying that Phillies got canceled because of wind. I'm going to be honest with you. They got canceled early in the day. And at that point, I just, shut it down and got ready for a Sixers game. So I didn't hear it
Yeah.
was because of wind. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but you do mention a good point. Now we got to flip the script from pitchers, right, over to batters. And, I did try and look, just so you know, a little low on the scale for pitchers. Didn't like anything that's popping off below that 7K range. So I think, we kind of draw that line where we were talking the sale Evaldi range. And then, let's now go over to hitters. And it didn't work last week, but believe me, it's going to work this one. And I'm going with the Colorado Rockies as one of those stacks because, and yes, Shorty Freeland, not so much, but I was never on Gausman. I'll tell you that. And I said, don't play him. So, that worked out. But because he had played cupcakes until he saw Houston. So I don't even know how he got positive points tonight after that first inning. But yeah, I like the Rockies tomorrow. It's Vince Velasquez time, right? And you saw
Oof.
balls popping out tonight. Pittsburgh's got 13 runs already. Colorado's just got 1 against Rich Hill. But I think it's a good situation to get some Rockies hitters and get some value in there with some good Rockies hitters, especially, I mean, Chris Bryant went long tonight, so we can look at him and then maybe get into that middle of the lineup with some Charlie Blackmon, Ryan McMahon.
I like it. Colorado, really good team when it comes to, again, we talk about value because of basically have a really good formidable lineup, and they have guys that are very valuable. And I talk about this all the time. You just look at this specifically, what they were, they have the 2 guys that, up at the top and Brian and Crone. But after that, I mean, Charlie Blackmon at 4,100, it's a great deal to put him in your lineup. Even Diaz at the catcher position at 3,700. Daza at 3,100 in the outfield. These are guys that can give you PPP all day long. So you can get really different. And then Dave, that this allows you to do, I'm not going to call it the jigsaw method, but I really like I've talked about this all the time, is combo in these stacks. A couple guys here. I did it tonight. I did it with Texas. I
Yep.
Marcus Simeon and I took my man Josh Young. Right. So I just 2 guys I wanted out of that lineup. And I took those 2 guys and boom, what did they do? They produced. And I took 2 Braves. I took Acuna and I took Matt Olson. So, I was able to get 2 of my favorite stacks together in one lineup and made 4 just with 2 different teams. So I do like to get different that way.
No, I like it. I did a little bit of that too. I hit some 4 threes and then some one-offs. Burleson was one from St. Louis. So yeah, it's definitely the right way to do it. Talking about another team out there, and I know you probably have one as well that you're looking to attack. But I tell you the truth, when we look at these pitchers tomorrow, and there's a lot at the bottom, I don't want to go. Obviously there's some good spots to get, but I kind of think off the top of I got to look at Baltimore. Now, my dangerous sign with Baltimore is, I think they've been on the road a little bit lately and they're coming home, but they had this day off. So I always like that. They had this day off to kind of reset the button. But Josiah Gray's been on or off. And when he's off, it's home run city. And Baltimore is very well known for their power, especially Mountcastle having a great season so far, Adley Rushman. So I think power versus power, I take the Orioles bats.
It's funny, Dave. We talk about this a lot, right? We go back and forth. I'm going to go on the other side. So my sneaky stack for tonight, or I should say tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the Washington Nationals. Yes, I said the Washington Nationals because again, and number one, that's where my FFVP derives. Okay, because let's just go right off the bat. I'll tell you why. Okay, so go right by the pitching perspective. Number one, they're very cheap and they're going to be low owned. Okay. And Kremer stinks. Okay. He stinks. And again, all I'm telling you is I just go by what the guy gives up for hits and runs. It's simple as that: 13 runs, 16 hits. Okay. In 12 innings. It's not a lot of innings. Okay. And that's a lot of runs and a lot of hits. So specifically, I look at a Washington lineup. Okay, you can really get some cheap bats. So my FFVP right off the bat is going to be CJ Abrams. Okay, CJ Abrams again, 2 out of the last 3 in positive point production. Okay, 4 out of the last 5. He's hitting the ball. He's not the strikeout once again. I'm okay with that, but he's stealing bases as well, and he's walking. So this is kind of what you want with these at bats. And from the left side, I think it's going to be a really good test to go up against Kremer, which he's absolutely going to obliterate. So I do like it's only 2,400. Again, only 2,400. And Dave, I'm going to stick with Washington. And I think that you can get a nice little stack of Candelero at third base and either Garrett or Thomas in the outfield lined up with CJ Abrams. I think, and again, here, think about this. Just say you took Garrett, okay? And you said, okay, 3,200. And you took Abrams at 2,400. Okay. Now you're at 5,600 and you had Candelero. Okay. And now you're at 9,000. 9,000, you got 3 guys that could absolutely go off against a really good matchup. So I do like that. And Dave, how many people are going to be starting watching the Nationals tomorrow?
Yeah, no, that's good. That was kind of like the Oakland A's play tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't really involved yet, but it's always the way you got to go to eventually, like you said, get different. In 11 game slate, that's probably going to be one that's 5% owned, that type of stack. So I love it. I love it a lot. We always like to go a little different also with stacks and attack one of the pitchers up at the top. And Tone, I'm going to go and attack Sonny Gray. I don't know how much longer this can last. I mean, this guy with a 0.53 ERA is finally maybe, I guess, he faced Houston, so I got to give him credit there. But the White Sox and Royals are minor league teams that what they roll out recently. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to stack some Boston Red Sox in one of my lineups tomorrow because one, Boston had that, what do they call it? The marathon today, right? They always play game around 11, and then the rain came. Had to get pulled, and then I think they call it Patriot Day up there. So now they had a little time off, but it was a crazy kind of day up there. But tomorrow's going to be a little cooler up here in the Northeast. I think high of mid 50s, which kind of leads me to believe maybe he's not going to be ready to spin that ball as much as he has been. Boston's going to be, like I said, sitting at home. They got done the game earlier today, ready to go. So I'll take the Red Sox to attack Sonny Gray. He's one of my off the radar up against a better pitcher in this slate stack.
I like that because nobody's really going to think about that. Nobody, right? So that's the one thing. Like, how many people, even though I give you credit, like you were like, let's go DeGrom. I'm not going against it. I'm not going with Gosman. Yeah. But how many people did go against him? It's one thing in not picking him, but not many people went against him, and not many people are going to go against Sonny Gray because listen, we live in a society. People just look at quick numbers, quick hits, and they look at that ERA. They're like, oh, I'm not touching him. right? They say it all the
Right.
time, not touching them. So that's where you're going to get different as well. You either get the low ownership stacks, or you go with this, with the low money, or you go with the stacks that you say nobody's even going to think about. And Boston had a lot of good bats.
Right, and that's how we got to Arizona last night, who did score 6 runs today against Flaherty in St. Louis. So you always got to get creative and get there. Looking at some of the stuff I look at, some advanced numbers, Sonny Gray has been more than fortunate in the way he's been pitching this season. I think things could change tomorrow. I think batting average on balls in play for him is under 200. So nothing that I think is going to stick long with, that. Yeah, batting average balls in play 238. Usually the league average is about 310, 320. So he's 100 points lower than the league average right now. Things will change.
Yeah, I believe that as well. Things will definitely change. So, Dave, any other value before we get out of here you see on the slate, and obviously, who you have for your FFVP?
Look, I got 2 of them.
Ooh, going two.
And
I like it.
yeah, I'm going 2 because I got to go 1 in case he doesn't play. So I'll lead off with the 1 in case he doesn't play. Let's go Brett Beatty, coming up for the New York Mets, third baseman, prize prospect that they didn't bring up from spring training, but they just called him up. I know tonight he's already got a single and an RBI. Lefty on lefty matchup tomorrow versus Kershaw. Not sure where they'll go, but they would be smart to keep this kid in the lineup because he is, a very, very good hitter. So I like him, and hopefully he plays. And then if not, or even if so, that game in Coors just seems like you got to get your hands in there somewhere. And kid from Pittsburgh tonight knocks a 3-run homer who's been up from the minors, came up when O'Neal Cruz got hurt, and that's Mark Mateus. So
Yep.
sitting there at 2,300, batting about, the middle half to middle bottom of the order. I think going against Jose Urena, you want to kind of stack something on the Pittsburgh side. Mateus wasn't doing anything before tonight, but all you need to do is see one go off the bat hard, and maybe things can change at 2,300. I'll take a chance on him.
I like it, man. I like it. And as always, that's why we talk about these, this FFVP, because you get a 5, you get a 7, and if you're lucky, you get a double digits. And you're talking about low ownership guys, very, very low money with other your stack that nobody started. That's how you get different. That's what the difference. Because if you always look, especially those cash games, you look at the top tier, and the difference between first and fifth could be like 6 points, could be 3 points, could be 2. That's your FFVP. That's the difference. That's the difference. Instead of getting a 0, you're getting positive point production. So that's how you win. That's how we came up with it. So, Dave, final thoughts.
Tomorrow's going to be a really good slate. 11's a lot that we usually get in a main slate because of some of the double headers that went off day. One final thought is we'll put some props up there tomorrow, but Jose Ramirez has great numbers against both Detroit pitchers tomorrow. Matthew Boyd being one of them, hitting 3 homers against. So the other one, Rodriguez, he's got 2 against. So, I'm going to be playing some Jose Ramirez props for sure tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll go all the way to home run, but he's also an RBI machine. So going to be looking at that, but we'll definitely post some more tomorrow and get you ready for a winning baseball Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. Like our boy Ghost says, Taco Tuesday. So make sure that you're locked in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you're on windailysports.com. Code word green or win big to get your first free week. And make sure you're jumping in that Discord every single day, anywhere between like 5 and 6 o'clock, whether it be me, whether it be Dave, whether it be Jay. Somebody's putting some props in there every day and they're hitting. Obviously, you don't hit everything. You say you hit everything, you're lying to yourself. Okay, but you pick your spots, be smart, and you'll get a profit. I guarantee that. So, Dave, as always, great show. Everybody watching in, we appreciate it. Like I always say, everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll catch you back here next time.